How do you deal with the storms of the past? Life is like a journey out at sea. It's like sailing through the vast and deep ocean, and throughout this journey, we make many individual choices. We set our sails to various directions, and in the process, we find many marvelous treasures. But as wonderful as it all seems, our past decisions will inevitably sail us towards a storm. A huge and seemingly unsurmountable storm of our own making. And within that storm lie all the things we refuse to deal with. The ghosts of past that came back to haunt us. And now, when confronted by this humongous storm, we run the danger of being engulfed by it and ending up at the bottom of the ocean. And all of this just because we tried to fight it. Our past can be the teacher of many great lessons, but if we refuse to deal with it and refuse to learn how to live with it, it will only come to consume us, taking over the present and blocking you from ever experiencing the future. And this may be a problem that many of us may face during our lifetime. From bad decisions you've made in the past to traumatic experiences that you're not able to let go of. Because, you see, the past can always come back to haunt you. And no Avatar episode deals with this problem as well as Book 1's The Storm. An Avatar The Last Airbender episode that will teach you how to deal with the past and also teach you how to live with the storms that are brewing within.
Why did you disappear?
I didn't mean to.
The Storm is an Avatar episode that mostly revolves around Aang and Zuko. We start off with Aang suffering from severe nightmares. He's being haunted by past memories about 𝐋𝐤𝐼𝐴 and his life before the war, about how he abandoned them all when they needed him most, about the shame he feels for running away. The next morning, the gang goes to a local market to buy food, but once they realize that they're out of money, they start looking around for a job. And eventually, Sokka finds a deep-sea fisher whose wife won't sail with him because she's afraid of an imminent storm. The fisherman takes Sokka in, but then he also lashes out at Aang. After 100 years of war, he's blaming him for the Avatar's disappearance. He's blaming him for the war in its entirety, and since our main character is still not ready to face the past, he simply flies away. Meanwhile, our beloved and banished Prince Zuko is once again obsessing about having to find the Avatar to regain his honor. But this time, he seems even more obsessed than usual, even claiming that the safety of any member of the crew doesn't matter, that only the Avatar and his capture are of true importance. And so, while Uncle Iroh warns him to turn the ship around to avoid the impending storm, Zuko ignores the words of wisdom and goes after the Avatar anyway. And after setting up the turmoil within both of the characters, we are then told about their past. While Aang is revisiting his Air Nomad history, Uncle Iroh is reminiscing Zuko's troubled past. They are both very different stories that go deep into the past of our two characters, but they have something in common. They are both talking about incidents that would fundamentally shape who Aang and Zuko are going to become. Aang, the last airbender who fled from his responsibilities, and Zuko, the banished prince who spoke out of turn and was scarred for life because of it. Both of them are now being haunted by a storm of their own making. Because in one way or another, their past choices created the storm they now find themselves in. And if they refuse to face it and refuse to learn from it, they may end up lost for good. Entirely consumed by the storm, they will only lose sight of who they once were.
Learn respect, and suffering will be your teacher.
The past can be incredibly overwhelming. In the heat of the moment, we often make many stupid choices that we then come to regret. And if we never deal with this reality, it will overwhelm us with a grim sense of insecurity. It will create chaotic and turbulent storms within our own minds. Storms that will haunt our dreams and influence our judgment. Storms that can completely destroy our lives. But they don't have to. They can also be storms that remind us that something is off about ourselves. A monsoon from the past that can teach us a lot about ourselves. Because just like in Avatar The Storm, we don't have to shy away from past problems. A lesson that we can learn from Aang, who realized that at some point, he'll just have to face his inner storm head on. To save Sokka and the people he cares for, he will need to calm his mental turmoil, because if he doesn't, he'll be in no position to save anyone whatsoever. He'll just end up being consumed by it. And the truth is that the storm within isn't going anywhere. So the least you can do is to head right into it, to look for the center of your troubles, to dive deep within yourself and find the eye of the storm. That peaceful and almost magical place within it that will help you better understand what the storm is made of and what you can do to disperse it. As a famous painter once said, "There is peace even in the storm."
I'm done dwelling on the past. Really? I can't make guesses about how things would have turned out if I hadn't run away. I'm here now and I'm going to make the most of it.
I don't think you're gonna have those nightmares anymore.
This quote from Vincent van Gogh perfectly demonstrates the mindset one should have if they are to ever face the storms of their past. Because no matter how big the waves, how strong the wind, how depressing the rain, and how loud the thunder, if you dare to sail deep within yourself, you'll eventually find the eye of the storm, the core source of it all. And then, once you do that, you'll find yourself in a place unlike any other. A place that is clearly surrounded by violent storms, but also a place where you can be at peace nonetheless. And it is from this point on that you can learn to deal with your past. Just like Aang, who learned that there is no way of changing his past and no point in worrying too much about it, so should you realize as well that what happened in the past happened. There is nothing you can change about that. But this doesn't mean that you should simply ignore your past. Just because you can't change it doesn't mean that you can't learn from it and grow through it. Because just like Zuko, who learned not to allow his past to haunt him and to influence his decision making, so should you ensure that the storm within you is not guiding your sails. But how exactly should you even do that? How can you face the storm that lies within you? Well, it's probably simpler than you think. The first step is to simply realize that there is a problem. I suggest that after watching this video, you go ahead and sit down and get a piece of paper to write on. And then ask yourself the following questions. Do I feel any turmoil within me? When did this feeling first arise? Why do I feel like this? And what can I do to address the storm within? And after that, board your ship, raise the sails, and head right into the storm. Start writing down as much as you need to answer those questions. Dive deep into the ocean that is your life and find the eye of the storm. You can do it alone, or, like Aang, you can also get someone who cares for you to set sail with you. Whatever it is, just do everything you can to finally face the storm. And don't fight the current, simply let it take you down a path of your past. Allow it to teach you everything you need to leave the past behind you. Everything you need to find the eye of the storm. To reach your ultimate form, you must first face the storm. Thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to subscribe and check out one of my previous videos right here. This channel is all about digging deeper into the meaning of life and how we can get there through video games, movies, and TV shows. So if that interests you, make sure to subscribe and share it with the people you love. See ya!
I poured you tea because I wanted to, and for no other reason.